Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Wednesday Indie Wednesday show. And we are excited to be here, even though we kind of had some chaos going on in our own lives today. But we've made it here on time, which is the most important thing. And it's great to see people online already. And by all means, of course, chat with us, chat with each other in the chat. And we are basically going to answer a lot of questions the community have provided with us today. And you are more than welcome to send them in to us through the live chat, and we will pop them up on screen as well. So do not be afraid to send us some crazy questions, because we will answer them as best or as comically as we can. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have got some very random questions on the show today. But first of all, Mr. Hooley's here. So hello, Mr. Hooley. Nice to see you.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. We have established we have drinks with us tonight, and there's various reasons why that is. For me, it's my daughter's 5th birthday today, and we have not long got back from a little sneaky beer in the beer garden down the road, which is lovely, because who knows how long that's going to last for, right? And then we came back and had some nice food, and she fell asleep very emotional because of such a stressful day. At 5 years old, I can imagine that it's hard work. So yeah, not too bad. How have you been?
Yeah, good. I mean, not been partying like but yeah, it's been quite good. I'm glad it's Wednesday. I think
Yeah,
Wednesday is like a hump, isn't it? Like you get to
well,
Wednesday and then you can see the weekend.
that's what they call the hump day, right?
Is that Wednesday that's the hump
Yeah,
day?
that's hump
Oh,
day.
right, okay. Fair enough.
Oh, well, you didn't know that.
I thought I have
I
no
thought I
idea
thought
when
that's
that
being
was.
very sarcastic. Like Wednesday's like a hump, yeah, hump day Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be quite a fun show. I think yeah, it's worth sticking around for with asking some questions. Please say hello on the chat. In fact, if you're on the chat right now, I will drop you a hi from the Writing Community Chat Show, and like and share it about and all that stuff so people can get involved. We are streaming on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube right now, which is fantastic.
Wow.
And you know what? We've had our. In fact, let me before we get onto the shows, let's do the beer token appreciation, which this week is with a twist. Because I haven't got a beer. Shock horror. I've got something else. But this is a different one for us completely, because it's a book that isn't out yet. And we often talk about books that are out and we put the links in, but this is a book that's coming out this year. So this is from at T-Truck 1995. And if you go to the Truck 1995.com website, which I'll pop up on the screen now, you can see, is this screen here. And it is his website, which is quite cool. And it says, buy the book ready for Christmas 2020. It says, you know what, this is a true story, which is quite fascinating when you look into it. Vince Stevenson, who is our sponsor of the show, and thank you so much for that. And I will show you what I'm drinking as a result. A curious adventurer looking to create lasting memories. And first of all, in this day and age, absolutely fantastic. I think people are so often stuck to their 9 to 5s or whatever jobs, and it's just there's not a lot of risk going on these days. It says whether it's climbing mountains, volcanoes, or glaciers, fair play, facing the rigorous of whitewater rafting or trekking Pichu. He enjoys the physicality of adventure. But we scroll down a bit, and it says this is a DIY. Can't speak. Sorry. This is a DIY trip that provides the transport. The truck provides the transport, but participants are expected to manage themselves. Diverse factions emerge, and it's clear that the chaos reigns. Rip-offs, theft, drugs, excessive drinking, and sexual tensions run seamlessly in the trip's background. So that does sound like quite an intriguing read. And do you know what
And
that
that is a
reminds?
great truck, by the way.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
Two-tone
definitely.
blue.
It's interesting. But what it reminds me of, Mr. Hooley, is our interview with Dom Jolly. And this is what I'm drinking, by the way. I said not drinking beer. This is pink gin and slimline tonic, I'll have you know. You gotta watch that figure. Yeah, our interview with Dom Jolly from season 1, he had a lot of adventure. He was an adventure writer, travel writer. And in fact, he is playing locally to me tomorrow, I think. However, it's like a virtual tour. But I emailed him and said, are you physically here or is it a virtual tour? And he said it's virtual. But he said next year he will be physically touring again. So I'm hoping to meet up with him and try and use our little bit of knowledge and experience
Our
with him
our
to try and.
hour and a half conversation.
Yeah.
Give us tickets, Dom. Let us in.
Yeah, give it. I just said that it'd be great to have a photo for the show. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so
Yeah.
TT at TT Truck, at T Truck 1995. Please follow him on Twitter and look at his website for us and support our authors, because they do make the effort to sponsor the show, and it is worth doing, guys, because this will be seen over and over and over for forevermore, and it's certainly more effective than a writer's lift. And you know, we normally read out some reviews as well, but it's worth.
I wonder
doing.
if you could put our banner on his truck.
Well, that truck was from 1995. I think it'll be a bit old. I don't know.
No, surely it's not. Surely he got the truck in 1995 and he's still on those adventures because the book's just coming out.
What? Still driving with that truck on?
Yeah,
The truck
maybe,
on
maybe,
the truck.
maybe it's part of him now and he can't get rid of it. Maybe it doesn't move. Maybe it just stays in
Well,
one place.
Hello on the chat, and Ross has just commented, and he's commented Halo Scott Cage question mark. I'm not quite sure what that's referring to, but I don't know. So yeah, thank you T Truck 1995. Your sponsor is very much welcomed, and when that book does come out, be assured we will share that information and the reviews it's getting to help you out again. And we got some great questions from the community, and it'd be interesting, Chris. Even Bad Grandma's dropped a question for us.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I know Mario is like a shark circling the show right now. And he'll be coming up with something probably a little bit inappropriate, which he was teasing.
He just wants to see you blush. That's the highlight of most
take
shows, to be honest.
Doesn't take much. So, anything else you want to chat about before we get some questions on the go?
Yeah, this is like an unofficial plug. Oh, let's party.
Yeah. On a Wednesday. Of a Wednesday. Thank
But-
you, Halo.
I'm a big fan of reading books before they come out. Like, if
Okay.
I can get hold of a copy of a book that I know is going to be a big one, and I can read it like 4 or 5 months before everybody else, that makes me happy. And I joined, is it NetGal?
Yes.
It's not NetGallery, it's NetGal, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, it's full of books that you can request, and if you've got a good Twitter following, you can read some of those books in advance. So I was okayed for a few books this week. I've got a few already on my Kindle that are not even out yet.
Nice.
I'm going to mention one of them in a second when I find it, because I want to get the I want to get the author's name right.
Brilliant.
But obviously, we had a little interview that we've got to show on Friday, and we got a really special book as a result of that. And that book is brilliant. So it's The Last House on Needless Street, and it comes out, I think, next. Was it May?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a long
this
time.
is the conversation we had on. We
Yeah.
recorded for Friday, which is
Yeah.
an excellent interview. Excellent, and it's definitely a different show for us, and it's very useful. Yes, you were right.
But yeah, that book's fantastic, by the way. Stephen King said it was amazing. So
Yeah.
it's clearly going to be good. But I'm just looking now in my account.
What
have a
we'll
look.
do, guys, is we'll announce that guest that was on Friday later on in the show, but it is definitely a different perspective than what we're used to. But if you are looking into going down the published route in the traditional published sense of being an author, then it's most certainly worth listening to. And indeed,
Oh.
that book,
So this is the book I got this week. Can we see it?
just about if you're close there, First Date.
First Date
Yeah,
by Sue Watson.
that's indeed.
So-
yeah.
It's a nice cover.
Yeah.
But I got that completely free. It doesn't come out until, what is it? October. So it's a
Okay.
month in advance, which is great. So I'm reading that at the minute, and it's a really good book. It's about a girl who goes on a first date. Surprise, surprise. But things go a bit sinister after that. So I won't spoil it because I'm going to review it properly once I've finished it. But
Yeah.
NetGalley is really good. If you like a bit of if you don't mind reviewing books and you're going to read them anyway, get signed up, get on it, especially if you've got a good profile. Obviously, they accepted me. I've got probably just under 10,000 followers now. And obviously, I mentioned the show as a result.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that
No,
worked.
it's fantastic to get early access to books and review them. So that's a really good thing for you to be doing, especially for the show. Can I just mention, right? I know
Go
we've
on.
got fantastic following on our show. We really have got the best fans that go in. This is the Wednesday show, right? Halo Scott, Let's Party, Anya Pavil, Let the Boozing Commence, Via Lord, who is new to the show from what I'm familiar with. Hello, and loving the rocking. Boozy Mango Slushy in hand. How cool is that?
Nice.
Yes, and Halo Rock On.
I like the fact that some of these people are mid-afternoon / morning drinking.
Yeah, in America, for you guys, it's probably not quite finished work time, and you're going for the old slushy mangoes. So, is that alcoholic?
I can imagine Halo watching this from like a bar opposite her work with like a few people.
looking at her
Let's
office
go.
through the window, thinking, if someone pops in, I'll just email myself.
Yeah, looking busy.
Via Lord, is Boozy Mango Slushy, is that an alcoholic drink? Because I think it should be.
Sounds like a pretty good one.
We will day drink. Do you know what? I think I've got a theory on drinking that if when you are older, basically by 9 o'clock you want to go to bed. By 10 o'clock you definitely want to go to bed. So when you're younger, you go out drinking about 10 o'clock, and as you get older, that time drops lower and lower until you're day drinking, basically, and then you just drink at like 12 o'clock and you go to bed about 8-9 o'clock at night. It's brilliant. That's the best time to drink when you're older.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I see the old men like going to Weatherspoons and stuff, like local bars, and they're having a drink with their breakfast. It's like, yeah, why not? Like, you've not got that long left. Like, just fit it in.
Anya, I'm definitely day drinking. No shame. There's no shame in that, Anya. It's
no,
just the way
we didn't say there was. We just said we love it. We love the fact that you're joining along.
And Via Lord says, definitely alcohol involved in the Boozy Mango Slushy. I think that's something I'm going to have to try and make over the next couple of weeks. So if you have a recipe, Mr. Via Lord, please send it our way. And we will perhaps sponsor, when we have a drink next time, we will do that on the show. So let's get into some questions. And please, by all means, if you haven't liked this video, whatever you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, please like it, please share it, subscribe if you can. And because more people can get involved that way. But let's get in questions, and when we get into the questions, by all means, if you're watching and you're commenting, drop your answers in and we can read the answers together. Yeah. So, question 1. This is from Halo Scott, and it says, what is the last book / movie you laughed at? And the last book movie you cried at? And do you prefer serial or episodic structure in TV books? So, first of all, Chris, what's the last book movie you laughed at? And again, guys, please send your answers in.
I read Sweet Sorrow from David Nichols, and I laughed quite a bit at that because it was about a guy reminiscing about his teens and his sort of first love. So there was a lot of stuff in that reminded me of my teens as well, and some of the antics that go on there. So he sort of park drinking. He's not an actor at all, the main guy in it, and he gets involved in a Romeo and Juliet play, like a reenactment of it, because a girl that he likes is in it, so he like reluctantly gets involved. And that is definitely something that I did when I was younger. I got involved in a play because I liked a few girls that were a lot older, and I thought, if I apply for that and get in, I'll be with them. So. Yeah.
Huli, were you a rebellious teenager?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. The last book movie I laughed at. Do you know what? I don't really go down the comedy of books. I haven't discovered that yet in my life, and that's a good thing. Like, I've still got that to come. But in terms of
you don't laugh
films,
at books.
I've never read. I always pick dark stuff.
Okay.
And, newsflash, for the first time, we've just seen a heart appear up next to our viewers. Dave Parry, he's my friend from Facebook. Hello, Dave. Not from Facebook, but from real life. Hello, Dave. The power of mango compels you. Yes, real Lord. And he has put a recipe up, which I'll put up later for all of you. Vince has said, where's Chris from? Up north, ? Indeed.
Yes.
Go on. You can release that.
Yeah, I'm from Manchester.
You don't have to be shameful about it. It's fine. Vince, where are you from? Let us know. Let's go back to that question. Let me ask that. So the last, I guess I'm gonna have to go to the movie. Yeah, so books, I like to read the dark books and horror and stuff. So I don't tend to read comic books yet. But Ross's book is on my list, which
Mm.
I've heard is very comical. So I think there's a film with this is going to be awkward. The guy from Breaking Bad, Walter Guy. What's his name in real life? Do you know? I don't know.
No,
No, you
I
know
know
what
what
I
you
mean,
mean
though,
though.
right? The guy with the
Yeah,
hat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's an actor. It's on Netflix, and it's about a guy who looks after an old guy in a wheelchair, but he's like he's
Oh
not had
yeah,
jobs. You know what I mean, right?
yeah. I
Um,
know.
and
Who's the
he
guy in
looks
that?
after him, but it was very funny, and that's what I
Kevin
laughed
Hart.
at.
He's got Kevin
Kevin
Hart.
Hart. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
goodness, my memory's
yeah.
going mental. So Kevin Hart and the guy from Breaking Bad, he looks after him,
Mm.
and basically, I think it might be inspired by a true story.
Yeah, I think it
Maybe.
is. He's like a multimillionaire, isn't he?
Yeah, so this guy's a
Yeah.
multimillionaire and he's had all these people looking after him and he's like, do you know what? I fucking hate these people. And then Kevin Hart comes along. He's a bit of a more of a run of the mill guy who just doesn't kind of give a shit. And he tells him
Mm.
how it is and he really likes him as a result. But it's really funny. So that's the last one I laughed at. So
Mm.
latest book movie you cried at, Chris?
Oh, see, I'm gonna have to cheat on this because have you seen Black Mirror's on Netflix or Black Mirror?
Oh, yeah, yeah. By the
Yeah.
way, sorry, everyone's saying Bryan Cranston is indeed Mr. Walter, what's his face from Breaking Bad. Thank you, all of you, for saying that because my brain doesn't work. End of.
We had Dave Cranston, who's his brother. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, I should do that one. Rock on, Dave. Go on, Chris. What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh yeah, Black Mirror's or Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror. Yep.
Yeah, it's not
It's very
really a
good.
book or a movie, is it? It's kind of like a series, but I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit because
It's good.
I watched an episode last night called "Be Right Back." Have you
Okay.
seen
Oh,
that?
you're still watching this? Because I finished all the season. All
Yeah,
series.
"Be Right Back" is the one where the guy at the beginning dies, and she speaks to him via
This is
like,
like one of the first episodes, right?
yeah, because
Have you
I've
just
not watched.
started?
I've not started watching them all because I've heard good and bad things. So I
Oh,
basically
so
cherry
excited.
picked the best episodes.
That's very exciting, Chris.
So I watched like the first few last night, and yeah, that brought a tear.
Do you know what? That's a spooky. Is what I love about Black Mirror is how they look at futuristic things and how that could be reality. And for those who haven't seen it, right, her husband dies, and they say, "Well, we've got this software that, like, you know, like we have Facebook and that it almost determines our personality and this stuff." Basically, they say we can text you from your husband. You know, you will think it's him the way we act because it's programmed, and then it escalates, doesn't it, to a point where you're like,
Yeah.
this is getting creepy.
Yeah, it gets more and more creepy,
Yeah.
and more sad as well. Like obviously, it's dealing with death, which for me, as you know, as an author who wrote a book about death, like it's a factor that I look at a lot and think about. So to have it displayed in that way was really interesting for me. And I thought the emotion was really good in it as well. So
Dave from Facebook said Stephen Fry's retelling of the Greek mythos is hilarious.
it is indeed.
I'm not familiar with that, so I'll have to put that on my list.
It's a great audio book as well because he does the audio for it. So it's
Okay,
really
cool.
really good.
Ross's book is superb, says Halo Scott, and I know they've had so many people saying that it's like witty and got a bit dark, which is fantastic. What I'm after, so it is on my list. It is.
Yeah, you loved Ross's book because it's very. I don't mean this in a negative way in terms of dad humor.
But dad jokes.
It's not dad jokes because dad jokes are notoriously bad, but it's like the way I describe it is I don't think my girlfriend would particularly laugh a lot at it, but I was wetting myself. Like I was actually crying at some points reading Ross's book. So I think it is that sort of like that dad humor or that sort of middle-aged. No, not that we're middle-aged yet, but middle-aged man type humor.
Keep digging, mate.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
Well, okay. Right. So the last thing I cried at, again, I'm gonna break the rules here. I'm coming for you, Hooli. I'm backing you up there, Ross. You're hip, mate. You're still young. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so I'm gonna break the rules and say TV as well. And I'm watching Away on Netflix. Is anyone familiar with this on the chat? Away. I want to say Anne Hathaway. Is that the right lady?
Anne Hathaway
No,
is in it.
Hilary Swank. Hilary
You're
Swank?
just saying random actresses' names now.
I'm pretty sure it's Hilary Swank. It's she's in it, and it's on Netflix, right? And it's about them going to space. Hip. It's about them
Hip
going to space.
replacement.
Yeah, hip replacement. It's about them going to space and being away from their family and stuff. And I came home from work the other day, really tired, and I had a bit of a shitty day, and I put this on, and it was the episode 5. And if you watch this, it's the one where Christmas happens, and they're trying to. It's the last video call they can have with their family before they lose signal and have to like text, which takes like an hour. It's that distance break. And my God, every single story behind it was like the emotional strings were being pulled, and I was like, I'm just too tired for this shit. And this was like last week, so someone who doesn't often cry that much was very much feeling the need to get it out, and that show definitely did it. So, final question from Halo: do you prefer serial or episodic structure in TV and books? Different for me. I'm going to say in a book, so far, I've read standalones and I've been happy with that. In series for TV, I love a series. Love a series. And I just going to mention, AMC have announced that The Walking Dead next year is its final season.
Oh, dear.
Ever. It's the final season ever. And I've been watching that for God knows how many years. 10 years, maybe. It's kind of weird. I feel weird about it.
No more Walking Dead. Bum, bum,
It's fine. It's
bum.
like 3 spin-offs now. It's fine. So, are you a standalone, Chris, or are you a?
No, I like to be invested in the character. I like it when they come back. Like, what's she called? Caroline Krebs or Krebs. I can't remember how you pronounce the surname. Yeah, she wrote You with Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so she's obviously got 2 books with him in it. So I'm looking forward to a third one. Hopefully it'll come out before the series. Because he's a great character to read. Like, he's great on screen, but he's even better to read.
Well, that's one of the good things about series of books, isn't it? Like we're just speaking about there, you get the character arc and development. Something like the book that I've written is it's fairly a short story. So to have that as a standalone would be very quick, and you wouldn't really. You get involved with the characters, but you wouldn't really fall for them. But over 2 books of a short story, even, you get that sort of consistency that carries on. So I think it's important.
One of my favourite characters ever, Arthur Dent from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He, obviously, that's a series. And I just love the way Douglas Adams like torments him even more in every book. I kind of like the idea of that. Like pushing a character until there's nothing else.
Dave has just popped up on Facebook. He says, I read a heartbreaking with capitals. That's a Halo thing right there. Graphic called We Three by Grant Morrison. Any ideas, Chris? I don't know whether to recommend it or warn you to stay well away. That's intriguing there. Possibly.
I've not read many graphic novels, but it's interesting that it's one that, is heartbreaking in that respect. Like, be interesting to see that.
Let's jump on to next questions from Rebecca Ridge, who engages with us quite a lot on Twitter and is well worth following. So
I remember this one.
Yeah.
She tried to embarrass you and make you go red as well.
Yeah, she said about coming on the show and maybe a late night WCCS show for this.
Yeah, about you reading an extract from the book.
Yeah. But, we're open to show suggestions. But we kind of mentioned this the other week that I think you're right. She says, I'd like to address the stigma around erotica. Not all erotica is porn. All of my stories have a deep emotional and romantic plots. And that's kind of the question we ask. Can someone answer? Because they do have a stigma around them that people write them just to sell, which kind of does happen. But I know there will be authors out like yourself who are trying to make the difference and really put that, a really connected story in there. So I kind of think you just answered that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm not qualified to comment on this because I've not read enough in the area. So maybe there are. Maybe there's quite a few out there that
on the chat about.
Yeah,
that.
It'd be interesting to see what other people think. To be honest.
Yeah, Halo never uses all caps. What are you talking about? Yeah, depends how many coffees she's had. Vince says Moss side. Oh dear me.
Oh, my side in Manchester.
Yeah, you two are gonna have a hookup now and chat
What?
football. Chat football.
No.
So, if you have comments on the chat about erotica, and is it a stigma, and is it an actual thought that people think it's kind of a how can I say without offending people that it's kind of an easy way to sell books, and we know it's one of the best-selling genres out there. So it is
It
a
is,
moneymaker.
but is it a bestseller in the same way that like those trashy magazines are in terms of what you're getting and it's filth, so that's why you want it.
So the question is, right, what I think Rebecca is trying to get across, if you were to see a bestseller thriller book and a bestseller erotica book, would you value them the same?
Good question.
You know what I mean?
I would say no.
Okay. It is tough.
Oh.
What are you having a wee up in the loft? What's happening there?
I'm pouring some lemonade because it's almost empty. Yeah.
Connor's on board. Hello, Connor. No, I just read that completely wrong. That's a question Connor dropped earlier. Connor says, "Hello, Connor. We've definitely talked about this on the show, and I love this question because we all have a ritual, every single author, and please tell us your rituals. Do you have a weird tradition stroke ritual you go through before you write?" He says, "I literally cannot write if there's no music playing. However, he added that it has to be music without any lyrics." Okay,
I'd say,
go on.
I'd like to hear what other people's rituals are, but mine has definitely changed because I feel like I've got less time to do stuff now. So now I'm literally like writing on my phone a lot.
I think the show's at fault for that,
Possibly, but also busy lives as well. But I write whenever I can now, and a lot of the time it is just those 5 minutes in the day where you've got like a little bit of a break from life, and you can just like you would be on Twitter and stuff instead. Like I think that's died down a lot for me, being on Twitter, because normally now when I'm on my phone, I'm trying to be productive and write.
Yeah, Twitter is kind of a very busy thing for people, especially writers. In the writing community, it seems to be such a distraction. But my writing ritual has not changed. However, I agree with you that the writing amount and commitment has changed purely because we have shows, we have busy lives, that like things are changing because of COVID. I mean, we had months where we were just working a couple of times a week and it was easy to do things. Not so much now, but my ritual is, you've probably heard this before, after being obsessed with Mr. Robot, whilst getting into writing, I'd have my hoodie up and occasionally a bag of jelly tots, and I just get into it with a certain playlist. Again, Connor, it did have lyrics, and I've shared the creative playlist on Spotify. If you want to know, message me, I'll send it to you. Very relaxed sort of piano lyrical music, but not like that. It's cool. But it's really good, and that's what I have to listen to. I listen to that exact playlist every time I start writing.
Oh, I was going to say something then, but I can't remember because you mentioned the piano and then you took me to Ryan Gosling.
I've not seen that. So, but
no, he learned to play the piano, didn't he, for that film he was in, the Oscar winner one. What was it?
No. I don't know what it is. Just
with Emma Stone, I can't remember. Oh, somebody tell me that. I can't remember.
Pilot? No, it's a pilot or aviator. Was that it? No.
No, he's dancing. Oh, what's it called?
Good.
It's going to irritate me.
Jumping back, La La Land.
Well there we go, Ross. Thank you. I knew Ross would know.
Jumping on to the last question. Anya says, "I'm all for destroying stigmas when we're talking about erotica again. Some might do it for the dollar, but if they do it well, then I say cool." I agree. If people are going to jump onto the bandwagon for money and they do a good job, then absolutely, why not? It's the same as everything.
Yeah. In the same breath, though, like if people are buying it, it's that thing, isn't it, of like, if you write one book and it's not deep and emotionally invested in your characters and all that sort of stuff, and it is very much like like sex based,
Mm,
and it sells really well.
yeah.
Clearly, you have an audience. So,
Oh, of course. I mean, we know it's the bestseller that kind of goes around. Romance and erotica is the top by far, and it always is. Um, I just want to say that I'd value them equally if they were both well written, says Anya, about thriller, stroke, erotica top bestsellers. But what I'm saying is, if you haven't read these and they're sat bestseller thriller, bestseller erotica, like number one, and you weren't judging it on the reading because you hadn't read it or the writing, would you still think they're the same value? I think that's kind of a really tough question to answer, but it's a valid question. But, it's tough. Veil Lord says, I think they must equally respect because numbers don't lie. People like what they like, and that's absolutely true. But jumping on to Vince's question here, Chris, this relates to you. My new girlfriend in the truck 1995 is a classic lecturer. There are a lot of Greco-Roman references from Manchester being a Roman town. I think that's really cool.
that is pretty cool.
Who was it we had on? Was it? It wasn't Anya, was it? Someone was a medievalist. Do you remember we had on the show?
Yes. Is it N.J. Simmons?
No.
Didn't she do stuff like that? Oh, no. Anya Pavel.
Was it Anya? I think so, yeah. Yeah, medievalist.
We're both there. Who is it?
A
Who
lot
did
of cool
these things?
stuff. Anya.
She was very interesting. Who was it?
She is Anya.
There we go.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love histories like that stuff, and especially when it relates to the UK, it's very cool. That's me, Anya. Here's Johnny. Okay, cool. Next question. Oh, important one coming up from Bad Grandma. Ooh. This is very important, Chris. The most important conversation of the night, really. Boxes or briefs from Bad Grandma.
Oh, that's not even a discussion for me, anyway.
Okay.
I'm boxers all the way.
Well, this is my point. This is my point, right? In America, I'm not sure what boxes and briefs are specifically because they may change the UK. But boxes and briefs are very similar in my eyes, so I'm thinking of something different.
No, briefs are the ones that have got they're like kids' pants, like
the Y front things.
Yeah.
See, I thought briefs were like a snug version of boxes.
No, I think there's less material basically.
Okay. Right, so for me, I wear boxes that are kind of
tight boxes.
Well, yeah, snug boxes. You know what I mean? They're like comfortable. I don't know. Not briefs. I thought they were briefs. So if I go around saying I wear briefs, that's completely wrong.
I wear my tight boxes with my cucumber.
Imagine. No, I anyone out on the chat? What? Oh God, Mario arrived at exactly the wrong time, didn't he?
Oh, bro.
So, first question. So you think romance, fingers, said that wrong on the podcast, always has to have a happy ending? Yes, I think so, because it's a romantic book, and a romantic book should finish happy. I'm
going to disagree with that.
Go on.
I don't think romance has to have a happy ending, because real life romance doesn't always, does it?
Well, let me tell you this now. Anya's thrown a spanner in the works because she said boxes briefs equals snug version of boxes. So I think that's right.
Well, no, because the two are combined there, aren't they?
Yeah, but boxer briefs, is that a thing on its own category?
Must be, but briefs on their own are just tight pants.
Well, I don't know. I think a boxer briefs. Via Lord says commando on stage. Interesting.
Nice.
Boxes brief otherwise. And Via Lord, is it commandos on stage because man chafing is a real thing and it's fucking intense? Do you know what? Recently, because I do biking and running stuff and it's very hot, I found a talc. A talc is a thing that is good, but liquid talc is a new thing that's been all the rage, and it's not so comfortable putting that on, I can tell you.
This is Mario, a conversation I didn't think we were going to have. I
like cucumbers. Okay, and he says, how tight, Hooli?
That's Agate that wears tight pants.
Well, you didn't specify, so Mr. Hooli, how tight are your boxes?
No, I don't wear tight boxes. Like, I don't know. I like to be comfortable.
Have you got a small bum?
Yeah, I've got a small bum.
I actually, my bum's too big, so they're always tight. Just the way it is. I got rugby leg. I got Welshman's legs. That's what it is. Briefs are like man thongs. I don't think they are, Halo.
They are. She's right. 100% right there.
I have never worn a man thong. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about briefs. I asked my missus to go and get me some pants, like boxers. So she came back with briefs, and I thought, I'll try them. Wore them for one day, never again. No chance.
Well,
it is that man thong thing. That is true.
Well,
not a chance.
Anya said, boxer briefs are a thing. My husband orders truckloads. Is this to do with the Truck Night 95? He's been ordering, he's been delivering truckloads of boxer briefs to Anya's husband since 1995. That'd be funny.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Vince says it's hard to empathize with it's hard again to empathize with erotic characters because you know they're going to get it in every office multiple times in 5 minutes. Multiple times in 5 minutes, bit of a challenge.
Not for cucumber man.
Banana hammocks are thongs. This conversation and podcast has clearly gone off the writing spectrum.
Wow, banana hammocks.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
heard
think
that
I've
term
ever...
for ages.
So,
well, it would be a cucumber. What would it? Banana hammocks. What could we have? Cucumber pouch.
Cucumber pouch. Oh dear me. Right, let's move on, shall we? Oh, this is quite fun. Oh, the next question, to be fair, is a very intense question. And it's from Ominous Hallways.
It sounds like someone's having a laugh with us already.
No. It says, I want to know why the human brain responds to rhyming. Why is it appealing? Maybe that is for a science show. Well, you might be right. It might be for a science show, but I
totally for a science show. Can get over.
I happen to know an answer.
Oh, go on then.
If anyone else knows this, please, by all means. I've just got here, says David Middleham. Bananas, cucumbers, thongs. What did I miss? Well, you missed a hell of a lot. And
we got in every orifice in 5 minutes.
So let's go back to this question about the brain. Right. So by all accounts, it is something to do with memory and our brain being quite a lazy thing. That's repetition, and rhyming basically was kind of a thing that was used to help the brain learn and develop things in that respect. But we just adapt to it, and there is a very much scientific reason and very other scientific reasons towards it. But generally, by all accounts, it comes down to like a lazy thing, and we just adapt and learn quicker from it.
I can't wait till the science show does it.
Oh,
and they basically go, "It's a lazy thing."
No, they will say there is a whole A4 page I could read to you, and I had, but I thought that'd be brilliant podcasting, so I kind of forgot it. So I apologize, but it is a science thing, and there is a reason, and it's to do with memory. So there you go. Yeah. So what's the comments? Let's have a little look. Rhythm existed before a written word. Well, yes. Well, perhaps that's more of a... Like I said, there's lots of different things. Veal Lord says, I've got a rhyme. I got time. It is sublime. Now vodka lime. I am liking this guy the more this show goes on. And I wish I had more alcohol. That's definitely... the first instruments were percussion. Oh my God. Percussion. Rhythm of the night. Rhythm is a dancer. Lalai. Hello. How are you doing? It's nice to see you with your big hair. I could feel your energies coming through. When we interviewed Lalai, by the way, guys, on the show, she crashed our
system
internet waves multiple times.
Yeah, it just couldn't take the positivity.
Okay. Tiffany Markham at the artsy writer. I said that as a mouthful. I plan to release
that. Hang on a minute. That name is almost a great erotic character's name.
The artsy writer.
No, the first bit.
Tiffany Markham. Almost.
Just change a few characters. You've got a great name.
I plan to release a Korea memoir soon. I have fears about being so out there, even with a pen name. Well, all I can say for that, I think, is that if you were that worried about being out there with a pen name, do you need to speak to the police? I mean, this is quite. I don't know. I think if you're a pen name, you're pretty safe, right? If you have a pen name and you share it off your personal Facebook account, then people are going to know who you are. I think as long as you are secure and kind of tidy with your social media or your advertising, then you should be fine. I think, be creative and go for it. Why not?
I mean, I suppose the thing with a memoir is like to make it interesting, you have to go into detail. And when you go into detail, that's when problems should occur, should imagine.
Yeah. But again, just keep it simple. Just don't advertise it as in this, like, I have this account and this is my pen name. Share it off my personal account. They're going to know it's you. Just keep it separate. Mario says, I wish I had big hair. How big are we talking, Mario? Are you talking like full on? I could see you with a full on afro. And I think it looked fantastic. Or a slash. You make a slash. From Guns N' Roses. I'm kind of working, says Lally. Well, we honour your sacrifice and to be here with the Right Community Chat Show on seemingly a piss-up night on a Wednesday. Unfortunately, I've run out of gin. I might have to... Should I text my wife? Or is she going to kick off if I do that?
Do it. Just try it. See if it works. Maybe she's watching. Is she not watching? Is she supportive?
What shall I say?
Oh, yeah, we get to do this text game.
So, new thing.
Yeah, this is a new thing. Right, so...
Right, okay. If on the off chance my wife's
We should try a rhyme.
Because she's not watching, I can guarantee she to put her to bed. Tell me something in the comments right now to text to my wife. If it's too out of order. But it's got to do. It's not slander if it's funny. No, but if it's make it towards alcohol, like getting me a drink, but we'll rhyme it from you guys. Can you start us off, Chris? Have you got something? Booze. I can't just start with booze, Vale Lord.
Say, my cucumber is growing. Sorry, I mean thirst.
My cucumber's growing.
Yeah, sorry, I mean thirst. My thirst is growing.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Growing. Dot. I mean thirst.
Yeah.
Right. My gin is kind of thin. Oh, I love that, Mario. My gin is kind of thin.
Yep.
My banana hammock is showing. Okay. This is a great rhyme.
My gin is kind of thin. My banana hammock is showing.
Halo, I can't put an emoji of a cucumber.
Is there any more gin left? I've no way of knowing.
Okay.
There you go. Bit of a rhyme
there. Gin left. My what?
I have no way of knowing. It's obviously doing the show.
Way of knowing. So my cucumber is growing. I mean thirst. My gin is kind of thin. My banana hammock is showing. Is there any gin left? I have no way of knowing. Anything else now? It's a sin with no gin. Again, Mario classic. It's a sin with no.
It's a sin with no gin. Can you bring me one in?
And oh my god, you bring me one in. Send, guys. I tell you what. This show, let's scrap the writing, shall we? And just have the piss up show because it's so much fun. Get my frisky whiskey, Halo. I don't like a whiskey. I don't. It's not me. Good one, Hooli. It was a good one, Hooli. Did well on there.
Me and Mario, great team. Great minds.
I had a reply. I'm going to type on the screen what the reply was, and then see if you all appreciate that. That was the reply I just had.
Oh god, that's brilliant.
It was good. And My empty glass needs refilled fast. Bring on the gin. Buzz for the win. Yes.
Yes, that's the next message.
Via Lord, by the way, can you just explain to us when you said on stage commando? What is it you do on stage? And is it to do with being commando? Haley says, can we do another? Do you mean another rhyme? Do you want another rhyme?
Yeah, let's do another rhyme.
I love my wife too, Haley. Mario, thank you. A rhyme. What should we rhyme about? Give us a subject to rhyme about, and we'll give it a go. And let's read another question in the meantime.
Well, it's got to be a text to your wife.
Okay.
Let's
I think
do
she's
it.
onto it now. Should we text someone else? Oh, we can text Hoolie's girlfriend right now. She's not onto us.
She won't move though.
No,
she won't.
She's pregnant. You can't say that.
Yeah, no, but she won't. She won't move.
Oh my god. Singer in a rock band, says Via Lord.
Nice.
Awesome, first of all. So let's. What topic are we going to send your missus if she's not going to bring you an alcohol? What can we talk to her about? Oh, let's have a nice reassuring poem about her being pregnant, shall we?
No, that's not.
And
fun.
how amazing Chris Hooley is for her in that.
No, that's nowhere near as fun.
Oh, it could be.
No.
About Hooley's boxes. Yeah, but who's he going to text though? Mario. He's got to text someone off his phone. Can we do a scroll through your phone? You just stop it and text that person.
It's risky, that, isn't it?
I know, but it's brilliant.
Let me have a look. I've not got many contacts in there because this phone's relatively new.
Oh yeah.
Excuses.
Right. Let me jump on the next question when you read that. And in fact, it's the last one. It's from the Horror Fam on Twitter, and I do like the Horror Fam. But do you know what? As the Horror Fam is supposed to be like Horror Fam and scary, blah blah blah. They're so welcoming and helpful. It's crazy. So it's from @AshXAshes. Ash Kiss Mark Hocho. Good morning, Horror Fam. Clearly from this morning. Question of the day. I think we'll decide that. If you were in a horror movie, which stereotypical character would you be? And there is. I think if we look at horror films, there's always a stereotypical type of character, or horror books as well. I'd like to think I'd be a bit of the quiet one who turns into the hero. I think. And that's
nice. I reckon I'd be the cynical, sarcastic one that ends up dying.
Oh, yeah.
Like second. He doesn't die first, but he probably dies like third to the end.
You would be
before the heroes.
Have you seen the recent sci-fi film Underwater? No. There's always like a funny character that just kind of lasts towards the end but dies before the main characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's you.
Yeah, 100%.
Mario. Of course you'd be the hero, Chris. I think that could be sarcasm. I don't know. Comes across sarcastic to me. Might not be. Vince says children's songs, song rhymes are easily more memorable. And that is, I guess, backing up what we spoke about earlier, that perhaps it is a memory thing, but I don't know. Mario said perhaps, yeah. I'd be the creepy garage owner who tells the kids not to take the old road. I love that.
Don't take the old road, kids.
Yeah, you better not go down that road.
Like it.
Via Lord, check my previous and send that. I don't know what that is. Yeah. I think. Do you know what that photo of David there looks like? He looks like Opie out of Sons of Anarchy in that photo.
See, I was going to say God.
Of Ryan Hurst.
Like angry God.
Ross says, I get the guy who's being brave and gets out the car to check the noise. You mean the guy at the start who dies instantly? Yeah, probably. That's more like it.
I'll go and check. It might be a sheep, but then again, it might be a serial killer.
It's the zombie sheep. He gets Rob Zombie a lot. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys, we're like 50 minutes in. Dead. Absolutely. Anyone?
Are we going to get someone on?
Oh, okay. What about Halo? Let's go for the characters on our guest list right now. Halo, what character would she be?
Ooh, the one that fights back, but like pretty
In the
much
group,
almost.
within the group.
Yeah, but
She
like
causes shit in the group.
almost kills the murderer or the bad guy. Like almost kills them, but not quite. Like gives them a good run for their money, but then
Ross just instantly said killer. She's the killer. Could be sadistic. What about Ross? Ross is the guy who lives in the random house that they get to survive, and then they move on. Do you know what I mean? They're running in the woods and they find a house that's just randomly lived in by some weird guy. Not you, Ross. Just the character. And they go like, oh, look at this random house in the middle of this weird place, and it's Ross is in there, like sat there eating something on a rocking chair or some shit. I don't know.
oh,
Halo
God.
says, "I'd be the serial killer." Who are we kidding? I don't know. I think Halo, you'd be a serial killer throughout the episodes or the story, and then you'd switch and actually be not that person. What do you mean the guy that doesn't get the credits, Ross? I mean, there's a film I watched and they go into these woods, and that house they go into is like a pivotal point of the film. It all depends on.
good. Love it.
Ross is distracting the monster with his clever wit. So you're saying like Halo is the serial killer monster, and she's trying to kill everybody, but Ross is like, I'm telling dad jokes. Don't do it. You said it. You said it.
I take that back. They're not dad jokes, but they make dads laugh. Like, they're not dad jokes.
Well, do you know
Oh,
what?
God.
I don't know. Cool. Right. So if you've got any more questions, now's the time to send them in because we're approaching the end of this. But let's announce Friday's guest, shall we, Chris?
Yeah, Friday's guest is pretty awesome. Like, I was trying to get her on for, a few months?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've never had a guest like this. And I thought it'd be really beneficial for us to get a guest of this nature on because she could answer a lot of questions that we had, but we've never had someone to answer them.
Yeah.
So, are we going to say her name?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well,
So-
when I said, introduce our guest, it kind of meant, you can.
Yeah,
say
no,
it.
that's fine. Miranda Jewis is the senior commissioning editor at Viper Books. So she is the go-to person who she acquires books, she goes out, she speaks to agents send her copies and manuscripts and stuff. She decides which books she wants to take on. The books that she does take on, she's very heavily involved in the editing process. She's involved in the kind of production process as well because she looks at the front covers. She's in liaison with the authors. And she works at Viper Books. Is kind of like it's a hybrid of two really big companies as well.
Yeah.
So she's got how many years did she say she's got in the game?
Asking me to remember details.
I
I
think
don't know. But the thing is,
It's
like what
quite-
Chris was saying,
it could be at least it's more than 7 years anyway.
it's a really good insight to something that we didn't know a lot about in terms of published. And hang on a second.
Ooh. The rhyme worked, baby.
We got a gin. Thank you, Sarah.
Successful.
I tried to smile about that. So
We did
guys.
it.
Cheers,
We got
guys.
the gin.
So what was happening is that we spoke to a real publisher who's really high up in this publishing company. Like Chris said, is a hybrid of two big companies that kind of have lower tiers in that respect, and she has the final say about what they pay people. It's kind of like a football transfer, isn't it? They're like, we decide how much we want to pay for them and all that stuff, and it's a really good insight to figure out and listen to like how that actually works. And for someone who is maybe in Mario's shoes now, with like that process, no worries, Vale Lord. Nice to see you. So someone in that process, it's a really interesting perspective that we haven't had before. So we really like this, and it's a very good interview. Very friendly person, really good character, and it is a juicy interview, Mario.
It was like
Yeah.
it was one like I love. There's a little bit in it, and we can talk about this because obviously it's not spoiling the whole thing. But she's a bit in there. There's a bit in there where she talks about agents and the importance of getting a good agent because some agents annoy, like they're really rude apparently, to a lot of publishing houses, and like I'd never even thought of that before. Like you
Yeah,
think,
to the point where she said sometimes if that publisher is that renowned for being
oh
basically a dick,
that agent, yeah, they don't
if
read
you're
it.
represented by them, you have no chance of being even looked at, which is
Yeah.
really kind of a eye opener for someone who's perhaps picked up for the first time by a
Mm.
dickhead. That you thinking, oh, this is great, but it could be a terrible thing. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting that you need to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, and do your research on your agents, and like the advice that she gives there is actually really really good because it's something that you'd never even think of really.
Yeah,
Like you said, in that position, if you got an agent, you'd be like, "Wow, I've got an agent." You wouldn't necessarily think about who they are and what they're representing and what they've done in the past.
I can guarantee, Chris, if me and you, in our shoes now, where we are in terms of writing,
Mm,
had picked up an agent and approached us, we probably would never think, let's speak to them or find out what their reputation is. We think
mm,
an agent's come to us, this is wicked,
mm,
having no idea that if that agent had gone and promoted us to whatever publisher, they might have instantly rejected them because of their reputation.
yeah.
So it's very much something you need to look into.
Mm,
But you'll find out Friday. I mean, so many great tips in that respect that came in, and an insight that you asked some fantastic questions, Chris, and about how the process works and how that is gone from writing a book to actually finalizing it, how much is involved in that process and why it
mm,
takes so long and how it costs so much money. It's
mm.
crazy.
Yeah, and it was just a really good interview, and like you said, she's such a great person as well. Like I've spoke to her before the interview, obviously trying to coax her in. I was like, "Come on."
Yeah.
Um, but then afterwards as well, like I've spoke to her a few times afterwards, and she's just really nice and really
Yeah. Do you know
welcoming
what
with all her advice and stuff. So that's good.
was really great when we have guests on the show? You can tell what kind of a person they are, and a lot of the time, I'm going to say now with all the guests that are still engaging with us, have always been the same way. But for this lady, Miss Jewess, she was happily, once we were off air, she chatted to us for another 20 minutes easily. And we
Mm,
went through so many details after that that were
mm.
valuable. I was thinking, why are we still not recording this? It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it
But she
was.
was
Yeah.
fantastic. So definitely worth watching. And again, guys, if you could please like and share this, whatever platform you're watching on, and go to at Truck 1995 and follow Vince for us because he's come on the show and put himself out there, sponsor the show, and the truck1995.com. Check his website out for us and have a little look, see what you think. I
All
think
right,
the idea. Go on.
let's see if we can get someone to join us for a little bit, for a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
We
A
had
little,
Mario.
I've got to finish
Yeah,
this gin off. So
yeah,
we've
we
got
had
10
Mario
minutes.
last week, and that was an absolute delight. We could have Mario again or somebody else.
If any of you watching right now would like, it doesn't matter if you've been on this or not before, a little chat to us and just want to see how your day's been and what you're into at the moment, jump on and we'll have a little chat.
Yeah.
And just drop us a message and we're all good.
If Anya's there and she's got her goggles at the ready and the big hat.
Do you know what? Anya's. Oh, Mario! You reminded me. I've still got to send Mario his. We've got to sort your
his
book out
voucher.
and send you the price. I do apologise. I completely forgot about this. Mario and Ross and Anya and Lali go on. Do you know what? If 3 of you want to come on, 4 of you come on, we can do it. Just let us know.
Yeah.
We'll send
How
you
many
the
can we
info.
actually have?
We can have
Can
10.
have 10. Wow, that's more than social distancing.
Oh, you can't. There's no distancing issues on this show. I can tell you.
I can't wait to watch Dom Jolly's live virtual thing tomorrow.
Oh well, it's in the cinema. Well, a local thing, whatever it is.
Just because I know, based on our interview, that he starts drinking at like 5.
Do you know what?
Go on.
E.G. Radcliffe has just messaged me saying she's about to start reading my book. How exciting is that?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very, very, very cool. Anya, sure.
Yeah, come on, Anya.
Vialord says he can definitely. He would love to come on, but his connection keeps dropping. We will get you on again because I want to talk about rocking on a bloody thing. Anya says yes. I want to say Evan Knapp is online, and hello, Evan. You've been
Where has
ghost
Evan
lately.
been? Yeah, he's
We've missed you. We've
disappeared.
missed you, Evan. And
I was worried about him.
very happy to see you, Evan.
Woohoo.
And I hope
There's
you're all
Evan.
well. Really do. So,
Yeah, I
Anya,
hope
wait
you're
there
okay as
one
well.
second. I will send you a thingy majiggy. That is nothing weird.
You
It's
should
an
have said
invite.
banana hammock there.
I'll send
Definitely.
you a banana hammock.
I'll swing my banana your way.
Yeah, Mario's like, Evan's like, what's going on here? Okay, I've sent Anya the link. Evan. Oh, Ross says, "Cat guy is sitting here in my banana hammock in a rocking chair, waiting for the arrivals." I don't know. Just don't assassinate them all in the cabin, because that's the end of the film if you do that. So, I mean, you gotta like play them against each other when they come in that cabin and just fuck them up.
Picture Ross doing that.
Oh
God.
in a rocking chair. Hello. Right. Pirate. No, just don't assassinate them all in the cabin. That's there's a delay going on. I mean, you gotta like play them against each other. No,
What's going on?
I don't know. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I was playing you separately.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Everyone's saying, Anya, hello, Anya.
What?
How are you doing? I love the pirate hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it.
Can I just say, I absolutely loved your bedtime stories reading. Your dog was dressed up. You were dressed up. You don't have a visor or mask on today, which is the first time we've seen you without one on.
I'm at my house. I actually am on a break from work. It was the coronavirus was erupting and I had an anxiety thing. So I took 6 weeks paid off.
Nice.
That sounds terrible.
At the time.
Get another book done.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
So what is this? What time of day is it with you? If it's afternoon,
4 o'clock.
That sounds like a good time to start drinking.
I just finished tequila.
Is it tequila?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Hello,
hardcore.
tequila. Do you know what? It's been on my list to drink for a while because you keep talking about it, and I thought I haven't actually drunk that in a normal situation for a long time.
I love it. That and vodka. It's just, I don't know.
Vodka is a nightmare for me because I can literally drink a bottle in an evening without an issue.
Oh,
And
wow.
it starts off with like a little measure, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Wow.
And it's an actual energetic, so it like gives you energy.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, vodka, and then I'm like, the next day it's like, no,
No.
yeah.
So- When you say you've not drank tequila in a normal situation, when was the last time you drank it?
Probably in a very drunk situation.
Right, okay.
You know,
I thought you meant like some
No,
weird
but
scenario.
Anya drinks it like a regular thing, right?
Yeah, I buy the big bottles.
You know, instead of water. I mean, just.
No, I think, dude, I think I don't drink the tequila every day.
I don't drink coffee, tea, anything. Just
tequila.
No.
Love it.
No.
A few days a week, sure, but not.
So
every-
what? So what have you been up to? Any news? Any plans? What's going on?
My historical fantasy book is getting released in December if things go to plan. So yay.
Yes.
Nice.
I just finished Halo's new book in advanced readers. copy.
What? You got an advanced copy of Halo's book?
I have to say,
What?
you guys have to pick it up. It's awesome.
I haven't finished the first one yet. Don't spoil
Sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
Ah,
It's gonna kill me, but I'm talking about her book on here. I was like, oh my gosh, my heart was so happy and then sad and so happy.
Halo says Anya's new book is amazing too.
what is this about people swapping each other's new books? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
impressed now.
Hey, Chris Hooley's in like the club of advanced readers now, and he hasn't read any advanced readings.
I haven't been given a copy of Anya's or Halo's new book. And Ross, you're here as well. I want
Kick
your
off,
new book.
kick off, Chris. Go on, go nuts.
But, no, seriously, her new book, and also Drew's new book, AC Merkel's new book, London Calling. That is amazing as well. So I want to like plug people's awesome things because I got a chance to read them and I'm like,
Wow. Halo said
This is definitely
Chris
like a
Hooley,
WhatsApp group.
He said, "You're welcome to one, Hooley, but I thought you were busy." That is true. He did say he was busy, But
Halo,
Yeah.
I've pre-ordered it. I'll get it the day it comes out and read it.
I
then.
pre-ordered it too, and I'm still going
Yeah.
through book one. I'm so slow, it's crazy. But I'm enjoying it very, very
Yeah.
much.
I have nothing else to do right now but like write and read and play on Twitter and dress my dog in costumes. So
Nice.
Did you see the all inspired Anya dog costume that I did the other day?
no.
I made a WCCS hoodie for dogs because of your show.
Oh my god. Igloo come. Igloo come.
Oh, yeah, she isn't good on right. No, but it's on there. It's on there. You should look.
Oh wow, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, he made it specifically for you.
Yeah, I mentioned in the tweet that thanks to Lale's dog, I've made a hoodie.
That's not Lalai. It's Anya.
No, sorry, I'm reading. She just said I'm going. I apologise. No, hang on. Keep well hydrated. I have to go. Lale, thank you for being on the show. Or speaking to us on the show. Sorry. Yes, I said thanks to Anya's dogs and the bedtime story. I made the top.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna have to get that. I missed that tweet.
It happens.
So Anya, tell us about people's books then without spoiling it. Like,
Sure.
what can we expect from Halo and from Drew?
Okay, so Halo's new book, just as gruesome as the first one, and a great A. Lots of conflict, but the conflict I think is mostly character driven, in my opinion. So there's wars happening, there's this happening, and it's all about the characters coming to terms with themselves, with each other. In my opinion, I thought it was a very character driven thing. I devoured that book. AC Merkel's new book too. I also devoured that, and that one was where Halo's was dark and dramatic and riveting. His was so much fun, riveting as well, but in a different way. You go to the Tudor court. You have this fun. You have that fun. There's magic. There's time travel, of course. There's all these other fun things thrown in. So I vastly enjoyed both of them. I'm not going to say too much more because I don't like to hint to too much of the plot.
Halo said buckets of blood. Is that a reference?
There's lots of buckets of blood. There's lots of bombs. There's lots of brothels.
I'm very intrigued to see where it goes from. Oh, I'm still intrigued to see where it goes in the story because I'm still on story one. But she is definitely
So Anya,
darker than I expected.
I was going to say, I've got a question for you. Do you prefer book one of Halos or book two?
Ooh. I have to say, because of certain events that happen, I'm actually really prefer book two. Only because it builds on certain elements that I love. It's not to diminish the first book in any way, shape, or form. But I really say that things are transpiring in a way that makes me happy.
And were you, this again without spoiling anything, are you waiting patiently now for book three? Or like
Impatiently.
Yeah, impatiently. So there's more to come, basically, is what I'm trying to get at.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it left off with something I did not expect in any way, shape, or form. So I was like, "Holy shit!"
Awesome. Sounds fantastic.
It does.
I'm not asking that question, Mario, because I don't want to know the answer to that. Sorry, Mario's just asked a question. I'm not going to ask.
I've got another question. This is based on Drew's book. So Drew obviously went to London. Where would you like him to go next?
Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Is that tequila reference or?
Not necessarily. That's the first thing that popped into my head. I think because there was some movie back in the 90s where all these bug aliens were fighting. Was it Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
That popped into my head, and I part of that was set in Buenos Aires. So
Nice.
my brain just automatically went there, and
Wicked. Well, I think we're gonna have to wrap it very soon. Although Vince did say he's here, and I've sent him a link, but he hasn't joined us. So
we've still got about 20 minutes, I reckon, Chris.
do you reckon?
Yeah,
go on,
we can
people are
push
happy.
it to an hour and a half. People are here. Anya's here. She's joined. She's got a hat on.
Anya. Halo said, ask Anya about her epic tarot card book, 1800s.
oh
So is this the one you've got coming out in December? Yeah, when you came on, this was really exciting.
Yes.
So you have talked about it briefly, but Halo's obviously read it. I'm not
She-
saying I'm jealous, but she's read it.
Got a copy of like the Microsoft Word with all the editor comments. I can send it to you.
So she's read it, but tell us like your thought process now. So how are you feeling about it? Is it ready to go? Are you sort of prepping it? All those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think Halo and AC Merkel both gave me really good feedback. I had a sensitivity reader read it. Then I kind of took all that and incorporated.
Sorry,
the
can I
feedback.
just stop you there?
Yeah.
What's a sensitivity reader?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So a sensitivity reader is someone who looks at looks to make sure there's no stereotypes, no biases, no harmful tropes that that pop in. And some of my characters are Black and gay. And as you know, as someone who doesn't identify as either of those, I wanted to make sure that I was not falling into some harmful tropes or stereotypes.
Right.
So,
how did you go about finding a sensitivity reader? Like,
oh, sure, yeah. I actually went on Fiverr and
Right.
Way.
and looked at it, and I was researching it, and I found a great person. And then I was like, listen, okay, so here's the book.
Did you
And-
tell Halo about a sensitivity reader? And she was just like, yeah, get rid of that.
I think I actually mentioned it, and I wanted her perspective too. On that. You know,
I don't think she cares about our feelings when we're reading the book in the nicest way possible.
yeah, and in this case, it's not so much for sensitivity in terms of gore and all these other things. It's more so that I don't misrepresent, especially since a lot of the book focuses on slavery in the South and the 1800s.
How do they go about assessing that? Because obviously, like you said, like your book is set very much in the past. So when you're writing, some of the things that you may address may be very different, and you might have to represent them differently compared to what you would now in that respect. So the times are very different. So
the times are different, but it's also about having people from that community specifically who have a perspective that I couldn't hope to understand. So, and they also, there's generational aspects to it too. If someone's ancestors were part of, that community at that point in time, then I think it's important to, to look at that and incorporate it, because so that's a great question about the time. But people from a community who, who understand certain things I can't, who had family members, ancestors who have the knowledge that I wouldn't. And so it's about making sure that I don't misrepresent or perpetuate something that might be harmful. And then the sensitivity reader did find some things that, I was like, oh, I should, work on this. I should.
So how was that when they got back to you and they said, and they flagged this, and this, and then you've looked at that as a writer, obviously, who had written your first draft, pretty happy with it, sent it off, and how would you describe your thought process in terms of you get that feedback back? Like, was part of you like going, well, that's kind of what I meant to like write, and I wanted to explore that area anyway, or were you persuaded completely and took it out?
Well, the things were actually kind of minor to a certain extent. Now, the big thing for me was, do I have the right to write about something that is, slavery related? And my main character is actually only part, she's only part Black, and she doesn't find out. I hope it's not a spoiler really, but she doesn't find out till a couple of chapters in. And so the main trauma is being enacted on an Irish woman who's an indentured servant, and then the main character who thinks she's Spanish and Irish until a little bit later. So the things that I was editing out were trauma enacted on Black characters specifically.
Right.
So I thought that the things that I did change it was important to do so. But the reader did point out too that, you know, a lot of times African Americans in the United States don't necessarily want to read about slavery or about, because there's that trauma, which is totally understandable. So she said, you know, you might get some feedback about, you know, great, another story about this, another story about that. And so
I suppose though it's all a bit subjective though, isn't it? Because it depends on how a person interprets your
Right.
story, and if they're offended by it, it doesn't necessarily mean somebody else would be offended by it.
And so, you know, there were a couple of things, like having one person kick another person. That was an example of a certain violence that people knew happened, but I took it out and showed that cruelty in a different way.
Right.
So something like that, yes. But I didn't change the whole story in terms of it being a story about slavery. Because
So tell us more about the I want to say main theme, but I may be wrong. It's just because you mentioned it a few times in terms of the tarot cards and how that came to play.
So the tarot cards came into play a couple years ago. My best friend gave me a tarot deck for my birthday.
Wow.
And then I was thinking about, I was on the way to work and I had an idea for a story about talking through tarot decks and whatnot. So I kind of write notes for the story on my leg at stoplights. I think I told you guys about that before. I pulled up my skirt and I wrote down with pen on my leg.
I love that story. You in the traffic jam, just writing on your leg, like
Oh, chicka bow wow.
But no one could see down into the car.
yeah.
But
you get to work and they're like,
Truckers.
It was a
pen on your leg.
long skirt. It was a long skirt, so it was fine. It was on the calf. But in any case, I was thinking about, you know, someone communicating through tarot cards, and then I've been working with voodoo spirits for about 20 years. I practice Wicca and also work with various spirits. And so I'm like, maybe I could make this story about having the spirits intermediaries between this young girl who only has the tarot cards left from her father, and then they become a conduit for her to talk to him. And then she kind of has to unravel the story about, you know, why her mother is living with this man who is who's basically she's a mistress to him. You know, how did her father die? What happened? You know, all of these things. So like that's how the story kind of spun into that. And I didn't want to write the story from the point of view of a character who identified as Black, because I didn't think I had the perspective to write that from the start.
Do you know what? It's a real good thing to sort of even bring that into perspective, because so many people would do that without even thinking about the repercussions of it. And to actually sit down and when you're writing, actually take that into account and think, actually, I need to figure out the perspectives of this because it might offend people, is a really kind of noble thing to do when you're writing. I think it's fantastic.
Well, especially considering the climate now, and
Yeah.
there's the Own Voices movement where people are trying to find stories written by people in communities, you know, that truly understand. So it was I want to tell this story, but I don't want to do it in a way that's trying to take or co-opt or portray something in like the white savior narrative or trope, because that happens a lot. And right now in this country, it's a little, you know.
But at the same time, as a talented author, if you can tell a story of somebody's background and origin, then why not? Like, you know, especially if you've given it the respect and research that you've put into it. Like, I'm all for it, to be honest.
And that's
Can
a
I-
fair point.
Sorry, guys. Can I just point out Vince has actually joined the group? Can we bring him in?
Yes.
Yeah, bring Vince
Yeah.
in.
Hello, Vince.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I look a bit red. I've been out in the sun and doing a lot of walking under lockdown, and
Do you know, it's very
Yeah.
unusual for us in the UK to have the sun out, isn't it? So it's, you know, it kind of
Wow.
happens to us.
the weather's been amazing in England for the last 6 months. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been out walking and spending a lot of time in the garden and having a great time.
And writing books, obviously.
And writing books, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean,
I love your hat, Anya. It's beautiful. Disappointed with the guys, no hats at all.
Well, you know what? I
That's
did have a
true.
birthday hat on like an hour ago. I should have brought the birthday hat up. Yeah, absolutely. So, Vince, thank you so much for sponsoring today's show. And the
Pleasure.
story looks absolutely fantastic, by the way. So it seems a real adventure. You know, is that something you're really into? Do you like just, you know, a passion into that?
Well, I think one of the themes of the book really, and my motivation for going on the trip in the first place was that I was actually spending a lot of time and working away from home,
Yeah.
and I was living in London. I'd moved from Manchester to London, and then I was spending a lot of time working in the Midlands,
Mm.
and that was very unsettling. And I'd had an accident on the motorway, just driving up and down the motorway every weekend between the north, visiting my family, coming back to London. I had an accident, and it was just very unsettling. So I had like 2 out of 3 years of this traveling up and down, and it's very difficult to sort of create a solid lifestyle and
Yeah.
maintain relationships and things like that. So that when this trip came around, it wasn't something that I was looking for. It just kind of dropped in my lap.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I've got this opportunity now of spring and summer in South and Central America, or another 6 months up and down the motorway to the Midlands. And,
Let me guess,
after a lot of
you went to
deliberation,
America.
after a lot of deliberation, and, like I said, I'm a very sort of generally very reliable, very sort of solid character, but when I actually decided to make that decision to go on the trip, it upset a lot of people in my life because it was breaking character.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, there's some very sort of interesting and strange characters on the trip, and conflicting characters. And what happened was they drove me bananas. They drove me crazy.
Did they drive you banana hammock?
Yeah, bananas and cucumber. And
The grocery aisle.
after a period of time, I became one of them
Yeah.
because I broke all of my rules and stopped trying to control. A bit of a control freak like everybody else, trying to control things, but trying to control things that you can't control is debilitating. So it was
Wow.
it was a great experience to be amongst these people. Again, I was on this trip with people that I wouldn't, not sort of work with or have any normal social relationships with. But to be amongst them, I was quite judgmental initially in the beginning of the book. But what happens over a period of time is you really begin to empathize with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see things from their point of view. You may not always agree with them, but at least you can empathize and see from their point of view. So it's very much a growing experience and a lot of fun. And again, some wonderful and strange experiences that occur throughout the traveling opportunity.
It sounds fantastic. And when that does come out, you'll have to let us know and we can push. Oi. It's already empty. A little bit. You'll have to let us know and we can look into that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Let's link Vince and Anya a little bit. So,
Okay.
how can we do this? I like the tarot card conversation that we're having.
Can I make a point on that just before we do?
Yes,
There's
you can.
quite a few people in the chat saying about tarot cards, and Mario, for example, and Halo saying that they're really into tarot, and in fact, Dave came on and says never had a tarot reading, always fancied it. Now, just to point out that coming up in a couple of weeks, we have a show with NJ Simmons, who has been on the show before, and we mentioned on that show that she was on that her friend. She had a lot of tarot readings to do with her writing at some stage, and there was a big story behind his story. The story that she came up with. They are coming on together to do a virtual spiritual show, stroke reading thing that we are very excited about. So that is coming in a few weeks. So please look out for that, and you have to all be involved because it's going to be insane. Yes.
I'm interested to see if Vince's path has ever crossed with possibly Anya's path in terms of Vince went to America.
Okay.
Vince is down here. Vince went to America.
Yep.
And Anya obviously lives in America. Could they have been, that weird experience where Vince goes to a Walmart, Anya goes to a Walmart? They might have been
I
at the same
I
place.
think America's quite big.
I
Yeah,
felt
no,
a
but
connection with
Vince
Anya
has a
the
big
moment
truck.
I saw her.
There we go. See, I was on something.
Ooh.
So where in America did you go, Vince?
On the
Well,
ship.
I've been to Boston, New York, and Los Angeles.
Okay.
Beautiful places, But long after you've got to remember, Anya, by the way, that the truck story happened 25 years ago. It's actually the 25-year. So when you look at me now, I was actually 25 years younger, and I looked a bit like Steve McQueen, but not like I look now.
Was this back in like 1995?
95, yeah.
I was living in
Exactly.
Connecticut then, because I was like 16. So
Oh my God, I'm sure we met. Yeah.
probably like Boston and Connecticut, 2 hours drive. So it's very possible. I'm trying to think. Although actually, around that year, I was an exchange student, so I had some. So we had
Chris
an
is-
exchange
Chris
student
is
from
lost his
Belarus,
shit.
Russia,
We may have exchanged many things.
and we went to
I think I saw you in Pennsylvania.
I was in Pennsylvania at the end of that year. I was in Boston with a Russian exchange student.
Yeah, okay, I believe you.
I've lost it. Maggie's Mario. The
Okay,
comments.
can I just say something? I meet this beautiful Canadian woman. She's a classics lecturer, and this is in my book, and she's absolutely crazy, and but incredibly beautiful, and you've noticed in the last 2 minutes that I'm, a couple of drinks and I'm gone, so we really get together and we have a great time, and I'd say a quarter of the book is this dialogue between me and her. It's all crazy. There's no direct sex, but it's all inferred, and it's funny. It's really.
I know that when classicists drink, they can really get it on, and they can really be crazy. So,
Especially when you've got 6 hours to make an impact. I know.
Yeah. And especially if the classicists are studying these like ancient Roman. Have you
Ad
did you
nauseam.
talk about the flying penises that look like ducks?
Oh God.
She has
There's
talked
lots
about
of things that can happen in extremis. I know. Yeah.
that? Oh God, this totally devolved.
Oh God.
Okay, well,
Agate just quit. He's just gone.
He's gone. We've lost one of the presenters. I think the
Oh, God.
Latin got to him.
Oh, brilliant.
So, Anya, where do you live?
I live in Florida right now.
Okay. That sounds like you move around a lot.
I did, yeah. I
Okay.
did my doctorate in Florida, so now I live in North Florida. And I
Uh-huh.
stayed there, met my husband, who's not a classicist, a computer engineer. And
I used to work in computers. Yeah.
oh, cool. What did you do with computers?
I used to just spend a lot of time on the keyboard.
Yeah, so is my husband. He does stuff with the servers and the databases, and
Yeah, but I think your husband's a lot younger than me. I had 20 years of that, and it was great. But eventually you lose your eyes.
yeah. So
So I became a writer.
Oh, God.
I'm a writer now. My husband does it. He doesn't read or write, so that's okay.
I'm so sorry I disappeared. I just
That's good news.
completely had the giggles for the first time in this whole podcasting business, and I couldn't stop it. I did
God.
not, Ross. I did not take my trousers off.
Can I get more tequila?
Yeah, you get some tequila.
I'm gonna get tequila. I'll be right back.
I have a drink for you, Anya.
I was listening, guys. I
Saving
didn't.
one.
Let me get more tequila.
Yeah, I'm saving one for you, Anya.
Is that a red wine you're drinking as well, Vince?
Oh, God.
I don't often drink a red wine, but it's definitely something you do become accustomed to when you get a little older. Because when I was younger, I just was very much not into that, but very much can drink a bottle of red wine quite
Yeah,
easily now.
when you're a kid, you drink beer because all the young men drink beer. But
Yeah. I think these days,
God.
kind of a cider thing was going around. I quite like a cider.
Yeah.
I loved
But,
Ross's comment there, mate.
Oh,
Cider sends me crazy, so I can't have it.
yeah.
So.
I got a theory about that. That when you're young, if you drink a lot of cider when you're young, you don't tend to drink it when you're older. But if it's the other way around, you're okay a bit. But so are you,
Oh, my
Vince?
God.
This book is coming out at the end of the year, and
Yeah.
are you writing anything else now? Is this it?
I've written a couple of non-fiction, books. Not that the truck is a fiction book, but for my business. I'm a trainer. I work with people in London and around the world on the overcoming the fear of public speaking.
Oh, cool.
So that's generally what I do. So I've got a couple of other Twitter accounts as well, but I've got a special account for the truck because again, it's just kind of different. It's a little bit,
I get.
it's
Sorry,
a little
Vince.
bit different from my usual path, and to break it out into. Do you know what about 3 or 4 months ago, I did an online course. I'm trying to think of the lady's name, and it was just a great online course. And this lady, if I could, Joyce Maynard, and this woman won a writing competition when she was 18, and she was on all of the she won all the magazines and everything in the time. But this is in like the 1960s. And she got a letter from J.D. Salinger,
Ooh,
the guy who wrote Catcher in the Rye.
yes, indeed.
And
Is he dead now?
said to her, be careful of X, Y, and Z. But
Mhm.
if you need any help, you can come over to my mountain, and I'll look after you. And about so she went over. So she kind of gave up her thing, and she went to live with him on this mountain. She's 18, he's 53.
Oh
How
wow.
lucky can you get, And 6 months later, J.D. Salinger says to her, you're not this, you're not that, you're not this kind of lover, you're not this kind of person. Here's $100, now get off my mountain. Yeah, that's really.
That would
So-
have covered Uber.
Is the
Oh my
mountain
Wow.
a euphemism?
Sorry? No, the mountain is not a euphemism in this context. But there's a lot of really bad metaphors.
J.D.
in
Salinger
my book.
and his cucumber.
There's a lot of bad metaphors from
mountain is
Breeze. Yeah.
But
So when we talk about end zones and mangroves, it gets really bad. So we're not going to talk about that.
Chris, you were just
No.
going to say something. What was it, mate?
yeah, I wanted to get Dr. Maggie on because she would be the perfect person to be analysing our conversations because she's a doctor after all. And Ross, don't be shy. Please come on because your comment was golden.
Do you
It was
do you know
brilliant.
what? I think I will try and send her a link, but I think we've had quite a lot of time already. But we'll see if we can squeeze her in quickly.
Maggie, come. Maggie, come. Maggie.
We'll have a look. Although
Come, Maggie, come, Maggie. Is that a song?
I fully got the giggles. I'll tell you that much.
Sorry, Tipsy.
I've never seen you go off camera before, ever.
There's too many comments coming through on that that I could not handle.
Yeah, then don't pick my book up.
No. I can only put so many comments up on the screen that are not that wouldn't be considered. Do you know what I mean? And certain characters we have watching the show tend to put some good comments on the show that we cannot put up on there. Cucumber soup was a hint of one of the conversations that was going on.
Ominous.
Yes,
Oh, God.
definitely. I think you may have noticed, Vince. I'm not sure how many shows you've seen of ours. It tends to get a bit childish. Are we saying you're inappropriate?
This is my first, and it's not childish at all.
Not for our show,
Not
Mary.
when you're a child like myself.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
What did Maggie
Maggie's
say?
gonna
Funny.
I don't know, but we will get. We'll get this in. We'll get her on at some point.
But they are two people that I've really missed on Twitter. We've got Evan and Maggie. Maggie's on it quite frequently, but it's very rare that you see a nice tweet. Normally she's in the woods. And
Evan, I always
Evan's
say
just disappeared for a while, so I'm glad he's back.
Do you know what? He came back for like 30 seconds and disappeared again.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
It is a
So,
shame.
Anya, you're topped up now on tequila. Is that true? Nice. So you've got a little bit left.
the comment topped up appears in my book as well. You've got to be really careful with these metaphors, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Where are you from, Vince?
I'm
I'm
from
in
Manchester, in England.
She said,
Where
I'm
was
in, but
Chris?
give me a heads up. That
Same
Chris.
as Chris. Yep.
I am not from there.
Yeah, this Chris,
I rode a bus through Manchester once.
he's from Wales. I was going to say
Yep.
Welsh then.
I'm from Welsh.
He's from
Wales.
Wales. Whereabouts in Wales?
South Wales.
So,
Whereabouts?
that doesn't narrow it down.
Near the seaside.
Okay. I used to work in Carlion and I've worked in Bridgend.
Oh, not far from there. I'm by there somewhere.
Near there.
Somewhere near there.
Beautiful. It's really beautiful. The valleys.
Well,
valleys.
they are beautiful. Just don't speak to anyone. It's fine.
Why do you not want to speak to people?
Especially the
Um,
sheep. The sheep, I mean.
They're not mean.
They're cruel.
That zombie sheep was not a real thing as a film. No reason. They just tend to be a bit
Unsociable.
Okay.
potentially, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm still speaking to. I'm going to speak to someone about sharing a sheep for the show. If we get enough of like some sort of engagement or something, we'll figure it out. But there is indeed a local farm that I could possibly do that on, which would be great for the show.
Wear a helmet in case the sheep kicks you. You don't want a concussion.
Dave is in Wales next week.
You should definitely meet up and then do like a joint show.
I'd be careful with the word helmet when we're talking about metaphors as well. So
Oh, because the top of the cucumber.
Make
got
that
it.
weird
Yeah.
sound.
you got it.
I was thinking of a hard hat, but
Dave, what are you doing
got
in
it.
Wales? What are you doing in Wales next week, Dave? Let us know. Maybe we can go shear a sheep together. That's weird.
That is a Welsh proposition if ever I've heard of.
Mario says he loves Vince. I think Vince is now part of our extremely weird family.
Wow.
No, I think Mario. I'm sure. Maggie said she was be on in a minute, but I don't know. She's not turned up.
Have you sent her a link?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, sure, that sheep, baby.
This writing show is amazing. It's not like any other writing show you will hear. I can tell you that much.
It's definitely not.
Could I just want to finish off the Joyce Maynard story because
Yeah.
I listened to I followed this course. I thought it was great, and she took a lot of stick as a young person for telling her story, and I listened to her course. Now this trip of mine is 25 years old, and it kind of it's been sitting on my laptop for 25 years, and I've done nothing with it. So here I am
Wow.
in the lockdown, and listening to that course, she really inspired me that, yeah, okay, she's going to upset a few people with her story. Some people called it a kiss and tell story. But,
So yeah,
her
Vince, I
story-
was going to say, is this because she's seen as only being associated with Salinger?
Yeah, well, Salinger invited her, to live with her and be her lover, and then he just kind of discarded her. So I
hang on a
think
minute.
she's got her own story.
So let me get this right. Salinger was 53.
Yeah.
She was 18.
Yeah.
She was happy with that. That was fine.
Yeah.
Now she's come out and she's written a book about what happened.
Well, Salinger got rid of her. Salinger was very much a recluse at that stage, very successful. And so she told her story, her memoir, and that upset a lot of people. And,
Did she tell you this in the writing seminar, or did you read this and then go to the seminar?
Yeah, in the seminar, she talks about this, and she got a lot of abuse. Now, a lot of this would have happened long before social media. I imagine if she had have done this during the social media age, she would have been crucified. But she didn't. But she still got a lot of stick in the writing profession and various professions. So she came up with her honest opinion of what happened, and she's lived with it. And
Does she get a lot of stick because Salinger's dead? So
well, no.
He can't confirm
Salinger
or
was
deny.
alive. Salinger was alive when she made her when she wrote about it.
So
Salinger, of course, didn't like it because he was very much reclusive, very held in very high esteem for his book, Catcher in the Rye, and it may have damaged his personality. But again, it tells you something about what makes an interesting character.
So did she offer any insights into Salinger that people like me who have read The Catcher in the Rye, not necessarily a massive fan of it, but I could get why it was so popular. Did she offer any insights into his personality on that course? And like, I'm intrigued because this is sort of like one of those things.
Yeah,
did
on the
she
course, say anything about Salinger in a negative way? She just explained that she was her lover, she was his lover. And
from a writing perspective, Vince, did she sell the course to you because she knew Salinger or because she was a good writer? Why did you go on that course?
Well, she's like I say, she's had lots of bestsellers and written screenplays and all of that. So she was an outstanding writer. She won this sort of national writing prize. That's a great looking dog. So she won this great
looking dog
prize when she was 18 for writing. So this one had she was very talented. I think she went to Yale. She's a very smart woman, and still is, of course.
When you said she won a prize when she was 18, was the time? Was this before she was on Salinger's Mountain or after?
Absolutely, before. So Salinger contacted her through the magazine that she was fronting, and said, you're famous, you're young, you're beautiful, you're going to find a lot of X, Y, and Z out there. If you want to talk about it, come to me and we'll talk about it. And she went to him and she talked about it. And so they had 6 months together. And then he sort of said goodbye.
Did they write anything in that process?
Did they write anything together, do you mean? Or
like, did she say, this is what I wrote when I was with Salinger, like sort of great minds think alike sort of thing?
No. I don't think that was the case. I think that, she was a little bit subservient to him, a little, very much in awe of him and his cachet as a writer, and a very senior figure in the writing community. And I don't think she ever imagined that she would be abandoned in such a brutal way. So like I say, I mean, for me, I just did the course. I liked her. I thought she was, she's very smart. She's very clever. She gave lots of very good writing tips, some of which I will try and implement one day. And it was, I just thought that what was really incredibly courageous of her was that she took on this enormous task of as a young woman, telling it the way she saw it.
Agreed.
Whereas I've been holding on to my story now for 25 years so that I didn't upset my ex-girlfriend, my my wife of 21 years, and my family. And she did all of that a long time ago.
Anya, have you read Catcher in the Rye?
I have.
And what did you think?
I thought it was innovative for a while, but I also feel like every teenager, every person kind of feels that certain level of angst. And I think that I enjoyed it for what it was, but at the same time, I also feel that everyone can relate to it. And maybe J.D. Salinger is being slightly self-absorbed with the struggle. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, I get that.
That's just my opinion.
So Vince, what do you think of Catcher in the Rye?
I found it very difficult, but I find I find Dickens really difficult.
What?
I find classic novels. Guys, behave yourselves. Yeah.
Dickens came to Manchester, Vince.
Yeah.
He wrote A Christmas Carol on Manchester.
So did Julius Caesar.
Yeah, but no, they didn't write a great book.
No, but they wrote great plays about him. So Salinger, I read it a long time ago. I found it very difficult. Like I say, I find historical novels difficult unless you can get into the mindset of the characters. And maybe I just lack imagination. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I just, you know,
David,
I've read,
absolutely.
you know, Jane Austen, you know, the Mr. Darcy thing, half a dozen times, and I still cannot get into it.
I think
And
that those people live inside their heads way too much. I don't know. They would be the people that that have a selfie stick and they're taking all these pictures and doing this, and then they accidentally walk off a mountain and die. That's just my opinion.
if you don't relate to people, you just, if you don't relate to the character, it's kind of an empty experience.
Yeah, like I like that interpretation of Salinger with the selfie stick. I can definitely imagine him with that. And Halo, you were right. It was the one where he skipped school for a bit.
And it was Ferris Bueller too.
Yes,
That's
it was.
It was Ferris Bueller as well. Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a big Dickens fan. I think he was the Stephen King of his time. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, he told it as it is, how it is, and you got to love him for that. Like,
yeah, but I'm really cool with that. I think that's great. But you know, I'm a big fan of Coldplay. A lot of people just don't get Coldplay. For example, I like David Bowie. Some people don't get David Bowie.
We had
It's very subjective.
We had a guest on recently. It was a cousin of Chris. What's his
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin.
Yeah, she threw that in at the end.
Yeah, who was that?
She was like, it was CD Major.
Oh, she's Chris Martin's cousin.
Yeah, she is.
CD,
and she threw that.
CD Major. Is that a joke? CD Major.
No, it's not a joke. No, it's not a musical
true.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah, no. She wrote the other girl.
CD-ROM.
Ted Denton writes, "Hello, Ted. You're new to the show.
he has a great book too, Tight Lies. It's
okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to interject, but like I don't normally understand sportsy things, but I really liked this book, even though it dealt with sportsy things.
I gathered that from the football podcast we did when you watched it all. And
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to say
no. You, by all means,
I really enjoyed Tight Lies, the book.
So what is Tight Lies about?
So oh gosh, it's more of like a sports thriller and crime underworld thing than is sports. I'm not going to say more because I don't want to, ruin the book. But
yeah,
cool.
That's a great review, Anya.
Is that the one with Jim Carrey in when he looks for a dolphin? Is that the one when Jim Carrey goes looking for a dolphin?
Jim Carrey looks for a dolphin?
Yeah.
Sounds
He goes into the mental hospital and he's really having a bad time and he has to find the transgender guy.
Oh my gosh,
Chris.
I'm thinking Drew Carey. Oh my god.
Chris, I think you've made this film up. I've never seen this film.
Oh, you have? People have.
I haven't seen it.
On the chat, please. All right, thank you very much for writing, Druid.
Ace Ventura. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was making
Ace Ventura, that was the weirdest description of that film ever.
No, it was a good description of that film.
No, it wasn't. I've seen Ace Ventura. That's not how I would describe it.
I picture like him coming out of the rhino's butt in Ace Ventura too.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Vince is like, what the hell have I got myself into?
No, this is great. This is great. Anya, keep your hands like this with the hat on because you look like Anne Boleyn, who features in my book. Yeah.
Cool.
Anne Boleyn's in your book.
Well, it's references to Anne Boleyn,
All right, I was going to say, that's a very different story. If she's alive in 1995, there's something going on.
It's to do with Henry VIII and what he did because he couldn't have Anne Boleyn when he wanted her. So it's a very interesting discussion.
Right, we are in the next 10 minutes going to have to finish up because we are knocking on 2 hours, which is insane. But we've had great engagement. I mean, is there any questions, final questions the chat show people want to send in to us and we can answer them together in the last couple of minutes of the show? That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Unless I knew you've got any specific questions or Vince that you'd like us to randomly talk about. It doesn't have to be book related.
Wow.
Did anyone ever talk about coffee?
I love
In what respect? Are we all coffee drinkers on the show?
I'm pretty sure Dr. Maggie Gowitz is sponsored by Starbucks.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I love
Well, we know Halo lives on coffee. Well,
I like coffee, but it's generally it's pretty
Oh,
bad.
proper stuff.
Hmm.
No, but Dr. Maggie Gowitz, she's always there with
the
her
woods.
Starbucks coffee in the woods with Starbucks. So can we address that? Are you sponsored by Starbucks? That's my question.
Coffee.
Ooh.
David said there's definitely a Starbucks in those woods, and coffee is God. Can we have a
There
little
is.
teaser, Huli?
Yeah. What do you mean? Actual words from it, or just the idea?
Well, I guess a teaser of a book would be words from that book, but you know, you can try and
I
teaser
don't.
a book
I don't
without
have them
words.
to hand. The teaser of it is
mime? You could
imagine
mime it?
you. No, imagine you.
Me?
The book. No, the book.
Yes.
So you got Joe and Dexter, and then kind of put them together, and that's what you've got.
What? So he basically slices up his ex-girlfriends.
No, my second book is about a guy who he's called Oscar Wilde.
Mhm.
Intention,
Like
whatever
a
you're
drink.
comfortable with. Thanks, Halo. I'm not comfortable at this point. I'm just waffling. But it's about a guy called Oscar Wilde, who his ex-wife cheats on him, and he decides that he wants to kill her. But instead of killing her outright, he needs to get it right and practice. So he practices by killing some horrible people in the town that he lives in.
So he's a vigilante.
Kind of, in that respect of Dexter,
Yeah.
but also,
Perfectionist.
yeah, in terms of he wants to get it right. What is the perfect way to kill somebody? That's what he's exploring throughout the book. And I came up with a twist of it the other day, the ending, and it shocked me. So if it shocked me and I was right, then hopefully it will shock everybody else.
This will be great.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
the biggest thing I got from my first book was that the narrator was a great character. Like a lot of people have reviewed it in terms of the narrator was good. Now, this is from first person perspective, so it's like kind of romance.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
about
exactly. Yeah. There is a love element in there,
love. Yeah,
but
of course.
it's between a father and his girl. His
Hey,
little
do you know
girl.
what's weird, Huli? You're writing a
Go on.
serial killer story, as am I. We should
Nice.
cross this over somehow.
Maybe they just pass each other in a coffee
They should
house.
just pass in a coffee house and just
And
give each
Annie
other.
looked like she was killing somebody with her eyes a moment ago.
Oh no, I was motioning the dog because
You keep saying that, but I think you're staring down the bottle of tequila. Like,
Well-
you're like trying to use Jedi powers to get it closer to you. Like,
Why are you so
God.
empty?
Yeah.
Refill immediately.
no, that's enough. Like I want to be sure that we're having like there's it's bad weather today, so I want when we walk the dog later, I want to be fine.
Oh, and when you talk about bad weather in America, is this like a hurricane or is it just like a bit windy?
We're not getting the major part of the hurricane, but we got some
Oh,
band.
okay.
Yeah.
I spoke
So-
about this before. It's so weird. Like we just have when we have bad weather, it's like a bit breezy, bit of rain, and like when you guys have bad weather, it's like well, we have to like board the house up for a couple of weeks, but it's all right.
West of us.
We're kind of used to it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Had some gusts, and the dog got a walk in between them. And if we have to walk her later tonight, we don't want the floods.
I mean, your dog's quite small, so if you took it for a walk in the hurricane thing, it's gonna fly off, right?
we're just
Hold
getting.
on, hold on tight.
Yeah.
Cool.
definitely.
Right, we're gonna have to wrap up now, guys. What a unexpectedly fun show. Because let's be honest, it was very unplanned tonight, and we had a few questions, but that was all we had, and it turned into a 2-hour hysterical show, which we really enjoyed. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Oh, one more question.
Oh, here we go.
Ted says, "What breed of dogs do you have, Anya?
Igloo
get-
Cup.
Can you get them back on for a little show?"
Igloo
And if Ted, you clearly didn't see on her bedtime story that dog was wearing a tutu.
She's a Japanese Spitz. So sorry, she's upset now.
Upset? Why?
Ah, look, she's kissing you and everything.
Cool. Yeah, so again, thank you so much for coming on, and your questions and stuff, by all means, send them in again for next week. Look forward to that show on Friday, because that inside knowledge from the publisher is fantastic. It really is. And
Yeah,
she's
like
si-
if you've not listened to one of our shows yet and you're watching this for the first time, Friday's show is the show that you need to be watching. Even if you're self-published, if you're published by a traditional publisher, if you have got a book out there, even if you're just thinking of it, like listening to Miranda speak is just it really is an amazing insight that you will never get. So listen to that show. I got to ask as many questions as I wanted to, and I'm quite an eager beaver when it comes to questions. I was like, what's this, and Agate was doing the same because I could see his brain going as it was as the interview,
but it was going
as the interview was going on. It was like, oh, we've got to ask this. So it was a great interview, and it went really quick for us. And she's given us some really good insight into the world of publishing, which, as she says in the show on Friday, you wouldn't necessarily know unless you had to know about it. So definitely listen to that.
Excellent. Again, thank you guys, and please like, share, comment, tag your friends in this if they want to watch it. It's worth watching, and we'll put up it as a podcast tomorrow. Vince, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. And again,
thank you so much. It's been great to meet you guys, and didn't know what to expect, but it's been fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah, we will speak throughout this process now, but when it comes to your book coming out, let us know, drop us a tweet, and we will share that around. Definitely. All the best with that release, and thank you guys, and tune in Friday. We will see you Friday, and
Anya, she's got a book coming out as well in December.
If all goes to plan,
goes to plan, which I'm sure it will, and we'll pick that and pre-order that as well because it sounds really good. I can't wait.
It's goodbye from us. Halo says, has a violent evening. She means that in the best way. And thank you very much, guys. We'll see you Friday. Cheers, guys.